Live from the Talking Joe Studios, it's Talking Joe with Chief and Mark.
Talking Joe Weekly Podcast. Talking Joe is there. Talking Joe thought we would last. Talking Joe is there. Fighting each other like a married couple. Our podcast on the air. Talking Joe is there.
Talking Joe is the code name for a completely untrained special podcast force. Its purpose, to produce a weekly comic review show and serve as an outlet for Chief's creative talents and unleash them upon the world.
Talking Joe. Talking Joe is there. Chief is on his soapbox. Nobody seems to care. Fighting for fandom wherever there's trouble. The podcast on the air. Talking Joe is there. Talking Joe. Talking Joe.
Talking Joe is on the air, and here are your hosts, Chief and Mark.
Hey, that's right, Chief Doggy Dog, in his house, in the snowy his house. No, not actually snowing in my house, snowing outside my house. Been outside, made the world's smallest snowman, probably about to scale of 3.75 G.I. Joe figures, so it is a small one. My mate sent me a video. He is down in Guildford in Surrey, and he built like a 10-foot snowman, so cannot compete with that. But was nice to get out in the snow, and Evelyn was tidying and sweeping up snow, as a 5-year-old would be doing. But I am joined by you. Who are you, and what is the weather situation where you are?
I am Mark, over here in not so sunny Brighton. Today we had a few seconds of snowfall, which has now turned into rain. So we've got a rain situation going on down here.
Yeah, I think we're scheduled for snow until about now, or about 12, another half an hour, and then rain is forecast until forever. So it's all going to wash it away. But yeah.
You never know. It's often the overnight stuff is the fun, isn't it? It's you know, nothing there. You wake up and then there's a nice blanket of snow. That's exciting. Well,
the only upside of that is I was absolutely brass monkeys outside, freezing my knackers off. So coming up into this freezing loft, it's no change. It's fine. I can cope with the cold in the loft because I'm used to it now. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, so sorry for the late start on recording. I had a somewhat impromptu haircut from the in-house barber. Okay,
AKA Mrs. Funky
Bunch.
Yeah. And did she do a good job? Did you leave a tip?
I didn't give her a tip. Maybe I should have done.
Yes.
Tip: do better next time.
Ooh, slap
No. So pretty good job. It's a learning curve. It's definitely an improvement on lockdown haircut number 1, which was extreme to the max.
Yeah. My missus on the daily tells me that I need to get a haircut, otherwise the divorce papers are getting filed. So the chief is going to keep on growing.
I can't blame her, to be honest, man. But
it's getting a
you're
bit
looking
long.
like a yeti, man. I don't know.
That's it. I'm going to keep going till I can't go no more. I'm going to keep going till I do the splits, and then I get cut.
And the centre parting at the same time.
Yes.
When was the last time you had a haircut?
Good question. I think it was... Now, this is a dispute that I had with Ben, because I said it was prior to lockdown last year, so must be 10, 11 months ago. And he's like, no, surely your hair grows faster than what it is now in 10 or 11 months. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe I just got slow-growing hair.
Could be. You're very old.
But yeah, could be I'm very old. Yes, that as well. But yeah. Other than that, what have I been doing? Reading a lot of Dredd and reading a lot of comics. And what else did I do? Oh yeah, me and Ben have got a new game since we've uninstalled, deleted Battlefront. We are now playing Trials Rising on the PS4.
Oh, what's that?
Motocross game where side-scrolling left to right, where you just have to... It's like a Kickstart. You know, remember old Kickstart on the BBC?
Oh, yeah. I think I've got Trials Fusion.
Yes. So I had Trials on the Xbox, then I got Trials Fusion on the PS4. He tried he purchased digital Trials Fusion because I said this will be a good multiplayer game to replace Battlefront, and he downloaded it, but then he had to sign into something called Uplay, some rubbish third-party app, and he couldn't do it. We spent an hour online of him trying to do it, and in the end he said this is rubbish, and then he asked for a refund for Trials Fusion, which the PlayStation Store credited him straight away. And then I said, wait a minute, let's try this next version, Trials Rising, that might be better. So I ordered a physical copy from online for like £7, and he's like, I cannot be waiting. He said, I'm just going to buy the digital version, 30. I mean, this guy might's got money coming out the wazoo. So he's bought the digital version. I downloaded the demo, just so he's like, I'm going to go on last night and have a little spin. So I thought I'll download the demo so we can kind of get a party going and chat while he's discovering the game and I'm just playing the demo, because he's never played a Trials game before. I'm quite an expert at Trials, I like to think. And I said, I'm going on for 10 minutes, do this demo, and that's it. And I was on for 3 hours playing a demo.
Gosh, that's a good demo.
Well, he just repeatedly said, this game is insane. And he just repeatedly texted me saying, how do you stop playing it? Because it has the one more go syndrome in Mass Effect. It's
okay, very good.
The ability to do a 1 minute level and you're not got that gold medal, you hit one button and it restarts you back at the start of the level with no lag or load time is just horrendous, because you cannot wrench yourself away from the pad.
Okay, and is it
and the downside is, for me, that there's no opportunity to send any hacker-reported messages. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, is it improvement on Trials Fusion? Because I wasn't a big fan of that, to be honest.
It's much of the same. Now, what I liked about the first Trials game was the fact that it felt quite stripped down and basic. And I like all these technical elements of, holding the throttle and having to lean and wheelie at the right time. Whereas the way Fusion went and Rising has gone even more, it's very much a splashy, in-your-face effects kind of super jumps kind of scenario. Now, I think there will be technical maps in there, but we haven't got to them yet. But
fair dues.
And if we want to talk about bad stuff that's happening, we need to talk about this. When things go wrong, you can't explain. A broken window, a bad chest pain, you've got a leak, you've lost a wheel, your watch is smashed. Can this be real? A hole in your shoe, misplaced your purse. The explanation is the Romania Gypsy Curse. That's right, the RGC. You're stuck with the RGC. You can't hide from the RGC, the Romania Gypsy Curse. That's right, it's the Romania Gypsy Curse. However, much like the Where's Molly segment that was, as people will know, Molly featured in every issue. No, it didn't. Romania Gypsy Curse is not in effect this week. Incredible scenes of stuff going right for the Chief. There was one possibility of a super Romania Gypsy Curse about to happen, but it was negated by common sense and perceptive drivers. Now, I'll lay it out for you. I've gone out to the shops to get something. I've come back. There's one pedestrian crossing I've got to cross, fairly busy road to get home, and I'd pressed the button for the lights. Normally, I'm a big believer in waiting for that, red light for the traffic. Even if there's nothing around, I don't like to wander out into the road, because I teach my daughter that you wait for that green man before you cross in. However, in this instance, I was like, there's no traffic coming, or there is a bit of traffic coming, but there's ample opportunity for me to get across. And went across the road, and I was in a light jog, and my iPhone fell out of my pocket halfway across the road. And I didn't really realise until I got to the other side, looked back. By this time, I've got no time to get back across into the middle of the busy road because there's now traffic coming. So I'm like, oh shit, there's my £300 iPhone, whatever, in the middle of the road, about to get crushed. Double-decker bus coming. And the bus, I kind of was looking out into the road, and the bus driver kind of caught me looking into the road, thinking, what's this guy looking at? Managed to slow up and then swerve around my phone and gave me a thumbs up to say, look, I've saved you there. And then there was a van coming behind him, and he obviously was like, what's going on here? And he stopped right in front of my phone and kind of waved me across into the road to go and pick it up. Catastrophe averted.
Amazeballs. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I'm waiting for karma to come back round and hit me in the ass today when my house blows up or something like that.
Yeah, we need a new segment. Chief's fairy godmother looking over him.
Yeah, there's a jingle there probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh dear. Excellent
Also,
stuff.
we missed out on this last week, but it's back. It's time for Action Figure Fiasco. Action figures. We all love them. We all love them. Action figures. Oh yeah. They bring us joy in our daily lives. Bring us joy. Action figures. Evoking memories from our childhood. But now we're grown and we just can't stop. Buying plastic till our wallets pop. When will it end? Who can say? 'Cause action figures are part of our DNA. Some people say maybe we've gone a little wacko, but action figures bring us joy like a rainbow. They are so hot like a splash of Tabasco. Now it's time for Action Figure Fiasco. Now it's time for Action Figure Fiasco. Action Figure Fiasco. Okay, this week I am talking Star Wars Black Series. You remember a couple of weeks back I talked about Commander Bly, the clone trooper. This week I have got, let me get him here, it is Commander Fox. Now this guy is another clone trooper. I think he featured, he's kind of in the white and red garb. And he featured quite heavily in, I think it was season 7 possibly of Clone Wars. I think this outfit is for the kind of Coruscant official guard squad.
Okay.
But yes, it looks to be the same clone body as Bly. Helmet looks to be the same, but he's got different accoutrements on the helmet. He's got a little kind of antenna at the back, a nice short visor. Comes with a big blaster rifle, black with a nice bit of silver dry brushing. Comes with a mid-sized blaster, and then also 2 hand pistols. Comes with the cloth cape, a little bit different to Bly's in that it's got a split down the back, black with red trim. Then what sets him apart is he's got all this kind of dirt on his legs, lower legs, thighs, chest plate, and then he's got a load of scratch marks on his helmet. The kind of detail for the add-on paint jobs there is really, really nice, and good posability on this guy. That's 2 commanders down. I need to get Rex, Captain Rex, and Commander Cody and Commander Gree, and then and Wolf as well actually, and then I've got them all. So I've only got 2, and I've still got 4 to get. But yeah, I'll put some pictures up on the socials. But these figures are good. I'm not going to get any regular clone troopers, I don't think. Just happy to stick with these commanding officers.
Yeah, you don't mind the too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
That's it. Yeah, but
yeah,
good.
It's
good.
interesting. This sort of trend for dirtying up the figure, having it come pre-dirtied.
Yes.
Never mind playing it in the garden and getting it all mucky.
There's an R2D2 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back one, which is the Dagobah R2, and he is proper mucked up, proper grimed. And I have seen other people taking clean R2s and kind of doing their own grime and muck, hand painting them to get the finish you really want. I haven't, I figured when I was going to get into action figures, I was going to do a lot of customizing, swapping body parts and making capes and stuff. Done 0 of that.
Yeah, well, I guess it probably diminishes the resellability as well, if you did want to start divesting any of this collection. So
yes,
it's probably from a resale point of view, it's the safer thing to do.
Yes, very good. Anything from Thomas this week?
Not so far. If there is, it will be inserted here.
Good stuff.
And if there isn't,
then it won't be. Then maybe Mark can do one. We'll see. Action Figure Fiasco. I think that you asked me last time what my favourite jingle was. I think it probably is Action Figure Fiasco. I do also like the Larry colloquialism ones, the over egg and the pudding
good
one. I think that's quite a nice one.
Yeah,
And,
it's sweet like tobacco.
Yeah, Tabasco. Yeah, very good, very good. Right, well, we need to do something very important, and that is close out the Hunting of the Snake with issues 273, 274, and 275. It's time for Comic Talk. Comic Talk, oh, Comic Talk. Barry Hammer writes them, Chief and Mark discuss them, whoa. Comic Talk, oh, Comic Talk. Larry Hammer writes them, Chief and Mark discuss them, whoa. Yep, like I said, it is the closing 3 parts of this 10-part saga, which I think we have potentially enjoyed to differing degrees. But let's start, as we always do, with the covers. I have the A covers, and this is where Atkins is doing more than just depicting Snake Eyes in a solo pose.
Yeah, so this one has got Dawn and Scarlet battling an array of different vipers.
Yes. Now, draw your attention, top left. Who is it? Is that Cobra Ninja?
That is a Ninja Viper.
Ninja
Good
Viper,
spot.
got it.
Yes.
Okay. Have we seen those before?
I believe this is probably the only appearance of a Ninja Viper to date, including covers and interiors. So I don't think he appears in
was a
interiors.
figure there. I assume there was a figure made.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, we might be able to talk about that later, perhaps.
Okay.
Not that I'm dropping any hints here.
Well, that was basically, this is first time I'm looking at this cover now, and only because you said they are fighting an array of cobras, I just then started looking around at all these troopers, and that's when I spotted him for the first time literally 30 seconds ago. Who's this guy? And then once you said Ninja Viper, my guess was going to be Ninja Viper, so even though you've dropped a clue, I'm still taking 100% credit for when I guessed that later.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
The odds are as well it won't be your first guess. There's also Ant-Man down in the bottom left. Do you spot him?
Okay, yes.
I think that's a
Crossover.
miscoloured Crimson Guard Immortal.
Right, yes, that makes sense.
Although, yeah, I think, probably, as you say, looks like it's coloured to be somewhat like a Strato Viper, perhaps. Top right, in the purple, I'm not too sure necessarily who that would be. Yeah, there's Saw Viper is that colour, and there's the driver of that Cobra submarine, I think, is also that colour. Are they called maggots
The ones
or
that
something?
drive the bug.
Like that? Yeah.
No, maggot is that's the thing with the big elevation. It's a vehicle, isn't it?
Mm,
Or no, maggots are they the drivers?
Maggots are the drivers, aren't they?
I think they're like a beigey brown, aren't they?
Yeah. Let's move on and have.
Let's move on, 'cause this is great radio.
Fact-checking Joe can correct us there.
Fact-checking Joe here. Mark is actually thinking of Sea Slug, who came with the Cobra Sea Ray vehicle. Not too far off. Over and out, and Charlie Mike.
Okay, we've got the B cover, which is another part of this Jamie Sullivan big piece. We've got the Retail Incentive, which is John Royal. Tunnel Rat, I've only got the small one. Is that Beachhead behind him? No,
Looks like it, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
can't really see.
Yeah.
And then we've got two kind of sexy Baroness ones.
Sexy Baroness. That's Mark. That's Mike Mayhew doing two different variants for Baroness there. So he does the variants for these 3 issues. So he's got Baroness in this one. So she's in a sort of black evening gown and in a white costume. And then he does Lady J in the next one.
Oh, yeah, G-Shows. I've just opened up the next one, and I do not like those Lady J ones.
Interesting.
No, at all.
So it's got her in
way too sexualised.
In a white evening dress, and then her regular green stuff with sort of a spear and stuff. The Mike Mayhew designs for Baroness and Lady J are not completely random, though, because the outfit with those sort of evening wear is from the G.I. Joe cartoons, Eau de Cobra, which showed the Baroness and Lady J in their black and white dresses, respectively.
Is
And
he
then
an artist who's known for his kind of tits and ass cheesecake style?
Somewhat, yeah. I think he's done quite a lot of these sort of good girl art type variant covers of late, but he also has done other more sort of standard fare in interiors. I don't know if this is traditional or painted, but he is known for a painted style that is, ultra detailed and almost photorealistic. So,
okay, kind of ripping off like Greg Land style.
Well, I think it's a bit slightly better than the Greg Land style, to be honest. It's sort of somewhere in between Greg Land and Alex Ross, I'd say.
Look at these horrendous scarlet ones by Kiro Repin.
Which
274.
274. Yeah, those are awful, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's just a really bad cheesecake, sort of very CGI kind of computer-looking Scarlet. Not a fan of those at all.
No. Atkins, cover A. We've got Dawn and Snake Eyes chopping up a Cobra flag in a bit of a firefight. The B is more Jamie Sullivan. And then Copperhead on the John Royal Retail Incentive.
Yeah, it's quite
not
cool,
bad.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's not bad. Like any time you see Copperhead. Let's go to 275, which for some reason has a $5.99 price tag. I'll come to that later.
For all of those extra pages. Yeah.
Yes. We've got... my watch keeps beeping. I don't know how to turn my watch onto silent, so apologies if that keeps beeping.
It's a gypsy curse.
Snake Eyes, then we've got some Cobra hierarchy on the back, along with Destro. Doesn't really make sense, that cover, but doesn't really matter.
It's not especially logical, but yeah, it's Snake Eyes, and instead of jumping and slicing, he's got some Cobras behind him this time round.
Yep. We've got more Jamie Sullivan, and then the John Royal is a double-page front and back splash of Snake Eyes. And again, I haven't seen this in big, but it looks like just shooting at loads of randos.
It's against the Dreadnoks. This one.
Okay.
So I think it's I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but I think it's Torch, Buzzer, and Ripper. I think with Ripper probably on the bottom right-hand corner, is it?
Okay. Yes, you're right. I see that now. Yep.
Yeah, I think, and this is a double cover, so it's nice when you look at it up front. Obviously, it doesn't bear any resemblance to the interiors because the Dreadnoks are on the side of the Joes in the inside,
yes.
And also the visor look, that version 2 Snake Eyes is not the version appearing in Snake Hunt, but yeah, it's a nice image.
Yeah, and then finally we've got the Retailer Incentive B, which is by Larry Hama and Steve Lealoha.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the famous team from issue 21 of
Silent Issue, yes.
Silent Issue. So expecting a lot from the team and somewhat disappointed, personally.
The characters look static. We've got Snake Eyes, Tunnel Rat and Lady J, some Cobras in shadow, and it just looks a bit, there's no movement there. It's a bit basic.
Yeah, I mean, the Lady J figure particularly, there, it's a bit flat, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, all right, let's move on. We've had all these kind of mini breakdowns of arcs within arcs, and now finally, hopefully, everyone is converged on the community centre for the big showdown with Throwdown, but you need to give us a bit of a plot breakdown.
Sounds like you just did it, Chief, but I'll give it a go. Converging on the Springfield Community Centre are the G.I. Joe paratroopers, the October Guard, the Joes on the buses, the Dreadnoks and Destro providing air support. Inside the community centre, Fake Eyes continues his escape, kneecapping Cobra Commander and Dr. Mindbender in the process. Beneath the Springfield Community Centre, the Arishikage Ninja Team and the Joe's Airborne Team meet up with a rampaging Throwdown in the secret tunnel between the community centre and the hospital. Above ground, the October Guard, the Dreadnoks and a busload of Joes also engage Cobra. The story concludes in an all-splash page silent issue as everyone obliterates crowds of Cobra troops. The Joes fight their way out the community centre and the hospital. With Snake Eyes rescued, everyone makes an escape, massacring more Cobra troops on the way out. Roadblock eats a cheeseburger. Mission complete.
Boom. Win. yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so okay, I want to start off with the first few pages where we have previously heard Cobra Commander talk about the insane levels of security and death traps in the lower levels of this basement of this community centre where no one can get in or out. And yet, on the outside, they seem to not give two shits about surveillance because Joes are just parachuting onto the building. They've got no early warning systems, Cobra. They've got no defence against this. Joes can easily just fly a aircraft over, jet some people out, and then there they go.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they were never concerned with a frontal assault. Although they have been a frontal assault. No, it wasn't. This was the place that was rebuilt when Snake Eyes and the Dreadnoks and the good guys escaped from here on the Thunder Machine quite recently.
That's true. Yeah. So the Joes definitely know the location of Springfield, and it's already been. Yeah, the community centre has already been basically destroyed once already. But as much as you say about the security downstairs, that's not particularly effective either, is it?
No. We heard Cobra Commander speak at length about, like I said, all this C4 and claymores and all this laser death trap stuff, but none of that seems to have been switched on.
No.
They forgot to pay the bill for that one. Yeah.
It was outsourced to the lowest bidder.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean the Joes are landing on the roof, but I think without the assistance from the October Guard and Crystal Ball, they'd have been in a lot more trouble than they actually were. The whole game plan would have been a cluster foul up. I think they'd be spotted. They'd been spotted. They'd have started opening fire on them with from the Vipers and the Hiss tanks. So. And the Joes didn't know that the October Guard were going to be there, were they? So somewhat fortuitous that Crystal Ball was able to help out with his Hypno Shield. And
he did get MVP for me in a previous one, so keeping up that good work.
Do you see on the page 3 of that issue where Crystal Ball is grabbing his Hypno Shield from?
A pizza box.
A pizza box is just the right shape to
size.
Keep it stowed away.
Yeah, super extra large pizza.
Yeah.
Very good. Very
Yeah,
good.
just,
you don't want to deliver that wrong,
do
you? Here's your pepperoni, and the guy, what the heck is this? I tell you what, that would have been a better storyline than what we got here.
A whole subplot where Crystal Ball accidentally delivers someone a pizza, which is a Hypno Shield.
And then he tries to hypnotise someone with a cheese and pepperoni. Oh, even better. I mean, no, that's cheese and pepperoni. Every pizza's got cheese, surely.
Wow. So there are some monsters who don't like cheese in their
in fact, I was in Iceland, not for you people not in the UK, that's not the country, it's a shop in the UK. I was in Iceland the other day, and I saw a no cheese vegan pizza, and it had like a hummus base instead of cheese.
Hummus based
even I'm not stooping that low to eat that.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit sick.
Oh, I really could go for a pizza right now, though. I might order one after
love
this.
Pizza.
Yeah. Okay, so what's look, I'm just flicking through the pages. All these guys are still driving. Then Destro's coming in. One thing I did note down here is Snake Eyes. So he's captured Mindbender and Commander, and there's a bit of a face-off with the Vipers, and he ends up kneecapping Cobra Commander and Mindbender. And then when you see them a couple of pages later, where Laura pops up, look at the horrendous state of their knees.
They are looking ravaged, right?
Mate, I've actually written, knees are ravaged, yeah. Oh, bad news. And Laura, all of a sudden, after her whimpering fail previously, now she's like, I'll get him, Cobra Commander. I'll do the Crimson Guards proud. So now all of a sudden she's got a second wind and she's back on board the Cobra train. Yeah,
she's manning up, or womaning up.
Lauraing up,
yeah. But and those panels, they're pretty cool. They're as much as you might pour, unload the old scorn bucket on over this arc. Some of those Snake Eyes sequences are pretty cool, where and Larry being Larry, he's sort of tracking the weaponry that Snake Eyes is obtaining, and sort of using and recycling, and then dropping and picking up the next set, and all of that kind of stuff. So him using the Frag Viper scooper throw
Yes.
thingy, what's it? And chucking a grenade into the side corridor, taking out a whole bunch of Cobras there, making use of the Alley Viper's shield a lot more effectively than the Alley Vipers do. I'd hasten to add.
Yes.
Slinging that on his back at one point. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, as we go through into the next issue, I started getting very confused not as what was going on, because we know the Joes are laying siege, we know Snake Eyes is trying to extract himself, etc. But all the inner workings of what all these different teams are doing, it just felt like really bad storytelling in terms of making everything clear or in fact interesting. I mean, were you able to clearly follow where every single team was?
I did have to reread stuff multiple times to properly understand exactly what is going on, to be honest. I mean, the sense of place could be a little bit confusing, because they're sort of toing and froing and turning direction in certain cases and backing up, going back on themselves and so on. Yeah, could be a little bit confusing, but and I don't know how intentional that might have been.
No.
Obviously it's meant to convey a little bit of chaos there, but
I mean, look, Cobras have got all their guys in there. There's loads of troopers there. They've got Night Creepers in there. They've got all kinds of Vipers, Crimson Guards. Everyone is there, but they're still always at a loss against what at the moment looks like a minimal G.I. Joe team, because surely this is not everyone has arrived, or has everyone arrived by now?
Actually, no, the Joes are still on their way at this point.
Who's this team at the beginning? Torpedo, is that the guys who parachuted in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially we've got the first, Snake Eyes is making his way out on his own. The first team to arrive on the inside are the Joes that had, parachuted onto the roof. So that's Torpedo, Wetsuit,
Tunnel Rat, Muskrat, those guys. Okay, fine.
Then shortly after that, we've got the ninjas who are making their way.
Oh, that's right. They found a secret tunnel, haven't they, from the hospital into.
Exactly. They're following that secret tunnel from the hospital to the centre. Led by Granny and her brick.
Yes.
And then arriving slightly late to the party are the Joes
in the buses.
In their buses.
Yes.
And then already out there outside are the October Guard.
Yeah.
And then the Dreadnoks are.
Okay. And then all of Destro's fleet,
well.
which looks massive.
And then Destro's fleet seems to be
nothing. Does it?
It seems to be the last to the party, and they appear to only really contribute at the very end with a kind of a strafing run, giving some air support at the last moment.
Yes. Now, Granny, when she's taken out these Night Vipers in a secret tunnel, and one of them goes, "What's she got in the bag?" "It's a brick, of course." And then Granny says, "You did the hard part. They never expect the ear that sees." Now, which one's the ear that sees?
That's the ear that
sees.
You can.
No, but has it been referenced before?
AKA herewith. Is it? It feels like it's the kind of thing that would have been referenced before.
Yeah, don't know. And what is she referring to when she says that? I'm struggling to read in these panels what that could have been.
Well, it's a bit of a weird sequence, isn't it? That the Night Vipers have gone into this tunnel. They found, Granny there, who's the invader. They could just say it's some old lady. Obviously they're. They've not been studying her file card, so I think maybe that's the benefit of her not being an official Joe's, that they don't have access to the official clip and save file card for her, so it's caught them unawares. But they've decided that the best course to dealing with her is to fully encircle her about a metre away from her and have a little chat. So that she's in a brick bag swinging distance and can take pretty much the entire squad out.
And don't they even say she can't hear us, even though they're right next to her?
Yeah. They do explain that a little bit. They say switch to suppressed sound commo mode.
Okay.
But her reference to the ear that sees is basically that she's used her ear to hear them, I think.
She's used her ear to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hear them.
So
and smell them
used
probably.
Used her ninja ability / basic human senses to note that she is surrounded
I
by
think
a
she
squad
missed a
of
trick.
about
I think she should have
five-
used the toe that tastes instead of the ear that sees. I think she's missed a trick there. But I do want to talk about Laura because don't understand. We've got some. Oh, I just will mention quickly here that Nitho Diaz. I am quite digging his art here. I think his art, again, every issue seems to get better and better.
Yeah, it's strong. I mean, both teams do well, but Nitho is issue is very good as well. Yeah.
But we get to a page where Snake Eyes is taking out a load of dudes in the security corridor, and there's someone lying on the floor. I didn't realise till I'm looking at it now that that's actually Laura, and she's going. So I'm really confused. I'm really confused about this bit because I don't really know what's happening. It's obviously stuff's happening in between panels. Snake Eyes has deemed it fit to save Laura, even though she captured him and attempted to kill him, even though she was weak, spineless, and couldn't do it. And then she's been sent to get him again, but he wants to rescue her. And something has happened off panel because next time we see her, like I say, she is attacking Cobra Troopers in the next issue.
Yeah, so what I think the bit that maybe means that is unclear for sure, but I think there's a bit that you missed as well. So Cobra Commander sends off Laura to get Snake Eyes.
Got that.
She is tracking Snake Eyes and is at the beginning of 274 is literally just feet away from him, behind him.
All right, yeah, okay, she's round the corner, yes.
Yeah, so there's a page where Snake Eyes is sort of ducked down on the ground as some night creepers are sort of just coming towards him.
Yes, see that, yes.
Laura is stood right behind him.
Hadn't spotted that before, yeah.
If she really wanted to take out Snake Eyes, that probably would have been a good time while he had his back turned and she's, 1 metre away from him. But anyway, the night creepers find Snake Eyes and let loose at him, and he's using the Alley Viper shield to defend himself against their fire, and a bullet ricochets off of the shield and takes out Laura, so, gives her a hit to her shoulder.
Yes.
So then subsequently Laura is on the ground with the memorable dialogue.
Yes.
And Snake Eyes, despite killing an entire squad of night creepers, decides that he wants to rescue Laura. The next time we see Sean, when he meets up with the ninja crew, he has Laura over his shoulder. And they remark, who's he carrying? Looks like a Crimson Guard. So there's a sort of leap of motivation there. Why has Sean decided to save Laura despite...
well, that's my question. All you've done is describe every page.
you missed the bit where she got shot. So I think it's a very good question because he's clearly not averse to killing cobras.
And this
and
dickhead Storm Shadow is just calling him Sean. They just can't get it through their heads to call him Snake Eyes, any of them, can they?
True.
But then she decides in the next issue to start chucking grenades at cobras.
Yeah, so she has a bit of an abrupt turn there, and we don't really properly get any real explanation for her motivation to do that. So maybe Sean decided to save her because she had not killed him / let him escape, and he had picked up on some of the hints of her humanity in the previous issues, being showing concern for various people on both sides of the Joe Cobra struggle.
Yeah.
So we lose Laura somewhere, I think between 274 and 275, if there's a page where he's put her down maybe, as he's about to go back into combat. Obviously you can't, you lose some of your fighting efficiency if you've got someone over the top of your shoulder. So Laura encounters a squad of Crimson Guards, grenade in hand, and somewhat unexpectedly they start firing at her, and she lobs a grenade at them, apparently blowing up the entire squad in a fairly brutal way there. But
And
yeah, so I think it's one of the big unexplained parts of Snake Eye. Really, is why Laura has such a dramatic turn.
Let's go through
Cobra.
275. We can almost do that very quickly, page by page. But
Yeah.
I just want to say at the end of 274, the Joes are absolute turds, aren't they? They're turkeys because they've seen fit to roll up in buses, and then they can't even get their armour off of the semi trucks because they're kind of blocked in.
Yeah, I mean, it smacks of a little bit of lack of planning, doesn't it?
Yes.
That you're driving your combat vehicles into combat on the back of flatbed trucks. They're not really prepared to use them in combat, and I think possibly one, maybe two, make it off the trucks into combat, and the remaining 2 or 3 just stay on the back of the trucks. Yeah. It's not great.
So as we mentioned, 275, and maybe we didn't mention, it is all splash pages, no dialogue. A ridiculous $5.99 price. And what struck me as well is the always excellent J. Brown on colours. For half of this issue, the colouring, I didn't like it. It was way too dark.
Oh, interesting.
Obviously, you're on digital. I don't know if that's any different, but it looked muddy and kind of dirty and dark, which... okay, yeah, fine. I'm going through these very quickly. Page 1, we've got the Ninja Crew and some of the others, and like you say, Laura's down. Snake Eyes is checking on her.
Yep. So that's the bit where he's obviously put her down while they go back into combat.
Page 2, we've got Cobra Commander on a gurney, surrounded by different Vipers, kind of signalling them to attack or whatever. Then the next one is Snake Eyes, Scarlet, Muskrat, and a few others in the background, just advancing and firing. And here's one of my issues with this issue. The composition of the splash pages, I don't think works. When you're reading it like this, where one page is next to another page, I don't like the choice of images next to each other. It just feels like all pin-ups rather than this is a story page leading into another story page. I think whether the editorial or the direction was... what do you mean? My watch is telling me it doesn't understand. No, I don't understand either.
It's not the only one. Yeah.
So then we go to like page 4 and 5, and we got ninjas. Again, it's too dark. Ninjas jumping. They're attacking Cobra Commander, so he was signalling to these guys.
Yeah.
But then the next page over is a load of trucks surrounding a bonfire, and it just doesn't. These two images next to each other just don't work.
What? So you've got Cobra Commander on the gurney, and then the next image is the trucks.
Trucks
is that right?
circling around a bonfire. Looks like they're about to sing
page.
Kumbaya. Just doesn't. Those two images next to each other just doesn't flow or work at all.
Yeah. I'm only seeing these one image at a time, so
yeah.
I don't get to see the comic effect yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those first few pages, they're kind of very rapid sort of succession of the sort of flicking in between Cobra and Joe's at the bottom of the community centre, and sort of just slightly moving forward the action each time and slightly moving the camera angle. So like that page of Snake Eyes and Scarlet up the front, then it's almost like the camera has just moved back slightly now, so we're still facing the ninjas, but now we're behind Cobra Commander as they're advancing. And then we've got a cut to the next scene, which contains an error.
Go on then.
Error detected. Error detected. No prize incoming.
So this has got it's got two flatbed trucks with, it looks like, the Mauler and the Mobat on the back of them, the Bongo the Balloon van, the command vehicle, and 2 buses with the Cobras sort of advancing upon them. Can you spot the error?
No.
So coming out of the command vehicle are 3 figures coloured in blue, looking very much like Cobras. Okay. And then if you flick to the next page, we've got a close-up of who those 3 figures are.
Yeah, Duke, Hawk and Roadblock.
Exactly. So that was an unfortunate colouring mistake. there that was picked up, and Robert talks about that one in our little chat that we had.
Right, okay. So here's another example. I took a photo and I was going to send it to you as I see it, but my phone ran out of battery. But the next two images I've got of Hawk, Duke, Roadblock, and then the next one is Zartan and Buzzer driving away on motorbikes. Now, at quick glance, this looks like a double-page splash. But then when you kind of look, actually, no, it isn't. And it just very jarring to have those two pages next to each other in this book. Just...
I think that often the drawings they are being planned as single pin-ups without necessarily too much thought about what they look like facing each other. So I think there's a couple of instances in the book where it looks perhaps like it's a double page splash, but it's actually two separate.
Let's whiz through these because there's quite a few of them. Then there's some sort of tank firing going on, pretty plain and boring. Then we've got Laura confronting the Crimson Guard.
We've got on this image with the tank firing, we've got the second error that I'd like to point out here, which is somebody returning from the dead again.
Okay.
Who's that? What's that? You don't know what you're doing, but I saw a mistake. Something wrong with the drawing and I spot an Ojo. I thought that he had died. Bit shifty. Explain this, give it a no price. Can you spot who it is?
Heavy Metal.
Yeah, it's Heavy Metal, who was strangely replaced by the Persuader driver, Backstop, who looks to be actually taking the tarp off the mauler there. But he has actually made a reappearance.
Quick recovery. Well done, that man.
And while we are talking about Dead Joes, I also noticed that Cool Breeze is on the cover of Jamie Sullivan's cover to issue 275. He's not the only Dead Joe on there, but all of the other dead characters are being held up as kind of photos by the alive characters, whereas Cool Breeze is actually one of the characters stood up, walking and talking like regular alive folks. Sorry, you should be on a photo because you're dead, mate.
Moving on, next one's just ninjas fighting cobras, and again, for me, this looks like a double-page splash, but on closer inspection, it's not. Then just more fighting. It's just more fighting, isn't it? Then I'm just flicking through, and it's just not. It's just one of the worst issues of G.I. Joe I've ever read. Hawk, Duke, Roadblock. Don't know. I'm done. Unless there's specific stuff you want to talk about on this issue.
Okay, so it's if we rewind back a little bit, so it's the page after Laura has thrown her grenade and the Crimson Guards are pointing up at the C4 on the ceiling. It's a page with a Roadblock, Duke and Hawk on top of the roof, which is apparently the best place to be in a firefight. And there's a little touch there where the roof is blowing up in the background.
Right.
And can you see that there's like a laser beam coming down, which is setting off that explosion? So I think that is a little touch to show that the G.I. Joe laser, as manned by Joe Colton, is back in play.
I don't have...
And,
yes, I see it now. Yeah, I see the one you mean. Yeah. Okay, I thought it was just a satellite falling out of the sky or something, or a plane crashing. But yeah.
Yeah. I probably looked at this page about 5 times at least before I noticed that little detail, which I think is, was put in there to have a bit of a payoff, no matter how small, and looking much like an Easter egg, for that whole subplot where they did bring the satellite back after it had been taken down.
They made a big
There's
deal
been
about
quite a lot
that.
of time spent on that. And it seems like they entirely forgot about that, and so just added that in at the last minute to talk back to it. And so there's one splash page which is just a big explosion of the C4 getting sent in the underground corridor, getting set off, and it's throwing his tanks up in the air and whatnot. It's not necessarily the most exciting page in there, and you're kind of having to remember that Cobra Commander had said that there was a C4 in the corridors the previous issue, and noticing up in the top of the roof that there was this C4 that was about to blow, which the Crimson Guards had noticed and were pointing up at. But yeah, because Laura was throwing the grenade at the same time, I think it's probably hard to convey both of those ideas at the same time. And then we've just got basically a whole load of killing of cobras. They just the ninjas on the roof, no, on the hood of the car as they're cutting through, and then we've got the Joes and the dreadnoks on the bikes sort of making their way through. A couple of pages of the two buses of GI Joes blowing people away in the incredibly combat effective buses. Special combat buses by the looks of things, given the amount of bullet holes in these buses and lack of injuries to the Joes. They're pretty hardcore stuff. And then we've got the October Guards making an escape and setting fire to cobras as they do so. Destro finally making appearance and opening fire on retreating cobras, which is apt for a man of his honor code. And they appear on that page and then they zoom off. Mission done. And then we've got more, going away on the motorbike shooting cobras. Then you're leaving Springfield and
that's it. Mission completed.
Well done, Snake Eyes. Give that man a handshake and jump on a burger.
Yes.
Maybe or a sandwich out of a sack. Who's to say?
Before we yo Joe it, have you got any colloquialisms or hammer times?
I was just going to say before we got to that there's just a big note that there is a lot of violence and killing and mowing down cobra troops.
Yes.
But we've got one injury on the Joe side, which is Tunnel Rat taking a hit to his shoulder. Yeah. But there must be hundreds of cobras getting mown down in somewhat brutal circumstances. There's a couple who are sort of cut in half by fire from the Thunder Machines, miniguns, whatever they're called, Gatling guns. And also, being run over by the vehicles and disappearing under the various vans in the front of them. It's somewhat brutal, and there's still this sort of deference to the Cobra hierarchy, because despite all of the Cobras that Throwdown killed, he lets off Cobra Commander with a kneecapping,
yep.
and Mindbender with a graze to his knee. So it's not like Throwdown necessarily was sort of adverse to killing, or even adverse to killing people that could have been taken down by a wounding instead. So he is showing a deference to Cobra Commander to let him off there for sure.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It seems galling. In these days, you should treat everyone the same. If you're just going to kill people mercilessly, do it regardless of their rank. So what else did I notice? We had Diana Davis, who was credited as research assistant. I don't know if we talked about her last time, but she's there as to sort of give the script a once over and try and pick up any dead Joes that might be cropping up. So hence having maybe perhaps fewer dead Joes appearing this time around than previously. There's a nice discussion in the letters pages of some of the real world characters who inspired Stalker, Zartan and Snake Eyes. We had Dana injured in the firefight as well, actually, alongside Tunnel Rat. And the robotic horror show looks after and shows great concern. So either he's been programmed with some good nice empathy chip, or maybe it is some sort of genuine horror show brought back to life. Granny is swinging her brick again. I think it's a joke that's had its time.
Yep.
we can leave this one behind, right? And I guess the main thrust, particularly around this last issue, is that it doesn't need to be a silent issue. It's issue 21. It makes sense because it was meant to be a stealthy silent extraction, and this is just non-stop explosions, shooting, shouting orders. A very loud issue, effectively. So it doesn't make sense for it to just be splashes and silent, really. There's the tradition of the silent issue, and it sounds also like the schedule was running quite behind,
right.
and maybe as a shortcut for Larry to get this issue out of the way and get back on track. One of the shortcuts was to just get rid of the dialogue from it, which maybe helped with the scheduling, but I don't think helped with necessarily serving the story. Right. Unfortunately, I did get a bit of inside story on being able to see some of the scripting details for this, which was interesting. So Larry was keen on the splash pages looking like posters, which actually, as you say, each page should look almost like a poster, and he's specifically talked to them looking in the style of a Delacroix painting or a 50s Soviet propaganda poster. So that kind of image of brave heroes leading the way, and that reference to Delacroix is I think specifically to a very famous painting called in English Liberty Leading the People, which was an 1830 depiction of the French Revolution, which has got the sort of the figurehead of the revolution there, leading forward with a boob that has popped out. Do a search, and I'm sure you'll recognise the image that I'm talking about there. So sort of an intentional kind of look to stylising some of these images of having it less typically what you might understand as a storytelling page, and more splash poster image, each image being a kind of something that could be taken in isolation in its own right. There we go. Yeah, we can move on. Shall we do an I Spy on some of the teeny tiny little details spotted?
Yeah, go for it.
I spy with my little eye.
So we had a few little occurrences of characters we've not seen so much. We had laser vipers who make a very rare appearance here. I know that Robert Atkins also likes to sort of mix up his uniform choices so that we're not just seeing the same design all the time. And I noticed in this one, in his issues, the Crimson Guard Immortal was not the typical Crimson Guard Immortal that we're used to seeing. It was the version 3 design, which has kind of got the grenades or gas canisters kind of attached on his torso, giving him a different look and a nice way of kind of indicating this is perhaps a leader Crimson Guard Immortal as kind of the role that he shows there. We had Budo, who's slicing up a Crimson Guard with a long priest robe cut, which is a manoeuvre that was a big part of the Devil's Due Storm Shadow comic. So somewhat of a throwback to that particular manoeuvre, and maybe it's meant to be a very difficult one to carry off. So Budo is clearly advancing in his skill set. There was in the script a lovely little touch that didn't actually see its way to the final art on the page, which I liked and was somewhat sad and didn't make it through. That in the police scene at the very beginning of 273, where they've got that roadblock set up, in the script it said that they have a big box of donuts from the Carbo Donut Shop. A nice anagram there for Cobra. Carbo Donuts, very good. Then we had Dana, I think it was, who referred to Paniflov's 28, and so that reference is to a Soviet propaganda legend about a group of soldiers known as Paniflov's 28 Guardsmen, who heroically halted and destroyed German tanks during the 1941 Battle of Moscow. There we go.
There you go. Spied a lot there. Always looking, Funky Punch. Always looking.
Always looking. And I didn't actually have any hammer times or colloquialisms that I particularly picked out. I mean, we could find stuff, I'm sure, if we really tried. I think hammer time at this point, the biggest one is Granny's brick.
Yeah, correct.
But if we started on that one, we'd never stop. So,
okay, right. Let's Joe this story arc as a whole. 266 to 275. What you coming in with? How many cans of Yojo Cola you're doling out?
Oh, the whole 10-parter. Oh, I'm torn. I mean, The story is strange. It was a long build-up. It's sort of crowbarred in all of these different characters who didn't ultimately have a huge amount of things to do. It could have just quite as easily has been the ninja team going in to rescue him, and really from a story perspective it might not have been all that different. The art, I think, was good. It was nice to see Robert Atkins back on the book. Nitho Diaz has definitely upped his game and is producing some really great stuff, but yeah, it's ultimately that story that lets it down. So I don't know, I'm torn. I think overall I'm probably going to go low, like a 4 or something.
4 from Funky
on this
Bunch.
one.
Okay, that is bottom of his list. Chief. Now, Chief is... I think that 275 is probably the worst Real American Hero issue ever. But in the overall story, lump that in with 1 to 9. There were some good bits at the beginning. However, I'm looking at the bottom of my list. The bottom of my list is issue 60, which is the Todd McFarlane issue. Which I gave 4 out of 10. Would I rather read that one issue or this 10-parter again? Hands down, I'd rather read that one issue over this again, so this gets 3. This is officially the worst ever Real American story ever produced.
Dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
There you go.
And I definitely wouldn't go that far. There's some stinkers out there that are generally not written by Larry. So, for example, issue 20.
That was good fun.
That was awful. And then there was that one with Scarlet. That Scarlet flashback issue, which was around about
that was not good.
140s.
Dark Origin Untold. Dark Island. Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably my all-time worst issue. I don't think I actually could get through that issue with reading it all. It was awful. And then, Snake Hunt, it definitely had high points. There was consistently good art throughout. There were some very nice moments. As much as sort of Laura's motivations for turning at the end were a little bit unclear. It was she was a cool character to introduce. Some
Awful
of those
character.
Sequences were. Some of the sequences throughout were really good action sequences. And there was some real fun to be had. But I think just as a whole, everything coming together isn't necessarily as good as the sum of its parts. I think just cramming all of the Joes onto the 2 buses and never getting off was a way of having lots of characters, but ultimately didn't really serve the story and often didn't make a huge amount of logic.
Right, moving on.
Yeah.
Favorite line of dialogue?
No, I didn't have one. Did you? Have you got one?
I did have a favourite line of dialogue, and it was Short Fuse in the bus saying, "What are the ROE again, the rules of engagement?" Tripwire replied, "If it's blue and red, shoot it in the head."
There you go.
Which kind of sums up these last 3 issues, really. The massacre of Cobra by the G.I. Joes and their allies.
The massacre of Larry Hammer's lack of current talent on the G.I. Joe book. Okay, so we are done with Real American Hero up to date, or up to the 8 date. We are finished now. Snake Hunt, that is in the past. But what we do need to do is talk about toys. Mark talks about toys, ho ho. He talks about G.I. Joe. He talks about all the toys from the comic book and the animated show. Mark talks about toys. Mark talks about toys. Okay, Ninja Viper.
No, someone else. Just joking. Of course, it's Ninja Viper, and well remembered. So the Cobra Ninja Viper was first available as a mail-in offer from Hasbro Direct in 1992, and is basically a kind of blue... What do you describe the colour as? Almost turquoisey?
Yeah, turquoisey. What colour's teal? Is that teal?
It might be, I'm not sure. But you get the idea, kind of a light blue almost a slight touch of green in there, and it's basically just a repaint of the original Storm Shadow from 1984. So he didn't get released as a carded figure, so slightly less well known. Never cropped up in the comics, so probably less on the radar for that fact. And I don't think this is a figure that I ever had.
I've never seen it before. This is the first time I've ever seen it.
And the motto is, for this character, he who masters the art of self-discipline can crush any adversary, even G.I. Joe. Recruited from the highest ranks of Cobra's Viper Corps, the Cobra Ninja Vipers are the elite representation of Cobra's new elevated level of ruthlessness. Only the most sinister and cunning Cobras are selected for duty as Ninja Vipers. Cobra Ninja Vipers are no less than 10th level black belts in karate, jiu-jitsu, and kung fu. These villains are extremely obedient and carry out their orders to the letter. They function as covert subversives who can persuade any foe to do their bidding by entrapping the individual in one of their patented martial arts maneuvers. If given the opportunity, Cobra Ninja Vipers could wreak enough havoc worldwide to seriously damage G.I. Joe's global operations.
Why didn't they do it then?
I don't know. Yeah.
This figure looks cool. I quite like this. I quite like this repaint on Storm Shadow.
Yeah, it's quite good, isn't he? I mean, it's a classic mould, and nice to see. And I think that mould did get reused in a few different forms, and I think there were even sort of Red Ninja type versions of the V1s that came out as well. So yeah, and not necessarily one that I've got a huge amount of nostalgic fondness for, but a nice, what's the right word? Peculiarity, a nice rarity, lesser known figure.
There's some other versions though as well I'm seeing.
Yeah, so there was another version, sort of more in the more recent style, with sort of a slightly more stylized hood to him, which I think is actually the look that Robert Atkins used for the cover as well. You can see he's got kind of a dirk kind of knife sort of tucked into his belt, which is what would have come with that second version or third version, whatever it is.
Very interesting for me that Larry declined to use these characters in the book, because you think, okay, fine, we've got the Joe Ninjas, and then we've got Storm Shadow, and then the introduction of the Red Ninjas as a kind of a rival to the Arashikage. But I'm very surprised that he didn't put these Cobra Ninjas into some big ninja storylines.
Yeah. I think you're right. It is kind of up Larry's alley, as it were. But I guess because it's less one that he's probably had a hand in it originating. That file card has got the feeling of a non-Larry written file card. So yeah, I suspect because he didn't really have too much of a hand in it, and he'd really established the Red Ninja clan and the Night Creeper clan that may be trying to have a internally generated Cobra Ninja force as well, and I can understand the idea behind it, of that you get your best Vipers and then you train them up to be ninjas. That's not necessarily a sort of something that you can achieve overnight, really. It's going to be a lifetime of training to get those ninja skills, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, though that's right, and I like this one because this is not a character, a figure that I even knew existed. So yeah, it looks quite cool actually. Good stuff.
So that was the Cobra Ninja Viper. Round of applause.
Yes,
Thank
well
you.
done, sir.
Well done, sir. Maybe we'll see you again one day. And with that done, let's talk about some G.I. Joe merchandise.
Oh yeah. G.I. Joe ain't just toys, funny books, and tunes. Those guys will license anything. So funky, so nice, G.I. Joe merchandise. Do you need it? Sure you do. It's G.I. Joe branded, fool. What shall we make? We can't decide. Pick some old crap and put Flint's face on the side. On the side. T-shirts, funkers, sticker shampoo, lunchbox soap, jackets, underoos. Yeah, that's right. I said underoos. Badges, brushes, combs and mugs, telephones, tissues, and probably hugs. Hot damn. G.I. Joe hugs. Radios, candy, tents, tattoos with a G.I. Joe logo they just can't lose. Door knocker, doorbell, even doormat. They're probably a brand your dog and your cat. So funky, So nice, it's G.I. Joe merchandise. Do you need it? Sure you do. It's G.I. Joe branded, fool. What shall we make? We can't decide. Pick some old crap and put Flint's face on the side. It's G.I. Joe merchandise. Right, so I had the Saboteur backpack pick last week. What are you throwing out this week, sir?
So this week, I am throwing in G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra Eau de Toilette Spray, which comes in 2 flavours, Storm Shadow flavoured and Snake Eyes flavoured.
Yeah, look at them bottles.
Because what man trying to smell nice and impress the ladies wouldn't want to use G.I. Joe branded aftershave?
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say that you don't have this, but I reckon Diagnosticate he does.
Well, yeah, let's ask him.
Yeah.
Oh, my word. Yeah, could well be the case.
So this was what? This was Rise of Cobra era?
Yeah. This was a tie-in product for the Rise of Cobra movie, yeah.
Do we know where it was released? Was it a worldwide release or...?
It seems to be from where you can buy it and where I've seen it cropping up. It does seem to be some sort of worldwide release. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's probably cropped up in random places, but yeah. And what sort of fragrance do you think Snake Eyes would have? What kind of notes do you think you'd be getting?
Death, murder, and sweaty balls. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I was thinking perhaps kind of a slightly charcoaly burnt smell, perhaps.
Right. Okay. Yes. A burning flesh smell.
That kind of vibe.
I'll pass on that one.
But apparently this is a virile fragrance for men, as you would expect. You know, given that 2 top ninjas have put their name to it.
Yes. I wonder how much they're getting paid for this. I wonder what the endorsement deal's worth.
Yeah, they have the eye that smells, you see.
Yes.
And top notes include sparkling grapefruit, manly, mandarin, masculine, pine needle, ninjery, fresh lime, deadly, and middle notes include heliotrope, not helicopter, muguet, pear with action at the base, vanilla, cedarwood, amber, sandalwood. Ooh, deadly.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So next time you're going into battle, either against the Cobras or against the opposite sex, now you know how to be ready.
Yes. Interesting. What will they think of next? Good stuff. That's actually quite a long running. That's a 3-time running listener question that we delved into there, G.I. Joe merchandise. But we did put out a question, or you put out a question for the Talking Joe fan base this week, and let's find out what it was.
Question, tell me what you think about TV. Do you buy toys and buy other things? Who's your favourite guy from that movie? What are the UK pedestrian crossings? Question, what did we ask this week? Let's find out as we speak. So I asked out on the Facebook page, essentially, following up on the discussion we had last week. You said that with Snake Hunt ending and us being almost up to date with where we are with the current publishing of G.I. Joe, that essentially you wanted to have a step back from the show, maybe have a bit of a hiatus.
Time out for the chief.
Time out for the chief. And so I asked the listeners what they'd like to see next for the show. What would they think of a chiefless show? And given that we're up to date with G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, would they want it to continue looking at some other guys of G.I. Joe? And this was possibly the most active Facebook topic we've ever had on the Facebook forum. So it was really nice to see people getting involved and just being so kind and generous in their comments about the show, and sort of reflecting on the awesome achievements of Chief particularly, but everyone else that's been on the show too. And I think, generally the sentiment is that people want to see it keep on going, and ideally with the Chief in some form. But if not, try and keep going. Delve into some other part of the G.I. Joe universe.
Yeah. I mean, good, like you said, good response from the loyal fan base listenership. So we, read and took on board all those comments. Some really nice comments on there as well. So thanks for that, people. I think, just last bit about me. I am going to have a little bit of a break, whether or not, 1 month, 2 months down the line, I'm like, I really miss, this whole podcast malarkey and I want back in, then maybe there is a slot for me on the show. But Mark is a more than capable co-host and a front man here, so he's got the pick of a few people put their names forward. So whether he decides to run forward with a rotating kind of some hot seat, as it were, and what book I would say to Mark Funky Bunch now, read whatever you want to read. Yes, listen to what the listeners have got to say, but don't go down the avenue of reading a book that other people want you to read, So pick something that you like. I really want to do a reread of this Devil's Due stuff or this IDW continuity or whatever, and then people will still listen. So yeah, I think the show has done well to last, pretty much weekly, apart from 2 weeks off over a previous winter Christmas break. But other than that, weekly dose of G.I. Joe content. There's other great, look, we're not the only G.I. Joe podcast in town by any stretch of the imagination. There's loads of other great shows out there. So, we're in a busy marketplace. We're thankful that you've decided to spend an hour and a half with us each week. And it would be a shame if the show did stop. So if it continues in some guise, and then if I can come back on at some point every month or whatever to do something, that would be quite cool. But yeah, plenty of opportunities, plenty of ways for the show to adapt and evolve, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a few comments there on the thread from people saying that it'd be nice to see you have some role in the show. Chris said Chief needs to be part of the show, and Mike said don't deny the world your podcasting talent, Chief. So, and a lot of people very kindly sort of stepped forward and said they'd like to have some sort of involvement as maybe as a guest presenter. So thanks to Bart, Jay, Richard, aka Carol, for giving a shout out there. I'll be having a little bit of a think about what quite next we'll be doing, but it definitely won't be.
There's a bit of breathing room, isn't there? Because you've got the Robert Atkins interview to come out. We've got a special thing that me and Funky Bunch and a previous Talking Joe host recorded yesterday that will be coming out. So there is a bit of content, a bit of breathing room for plans to be made.
Exactly. Yeah. So we will definitely be back before too very long. I'm just going to have a little bit of a think about
what direction and how much time per week the missus is going to allow you to be locked in that room before she gets annoyed. We've all been there. Yeah. We've all been there. It's just your turn now.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, I am hungry, so I'm going to go and have some lunch. Hopefully Funky Bunch is going to do the same. Anyone out there who is listening, go and have your lunch, your breakfast or your dinner and or a snack. And I will be tuning in at 8:40 p.m. tonight, I think it's where it is, to watch the Green Bay Packers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then if I've still got any juice left in me, I will then watch the Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs, of all teams. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And with all that said and done... Oh, do I say next one as well? Fucking hell, I've done it for how many episodes? Still... Right, okay. And with all that said and done, we will catch you down the road.
Because we've been Talking Joe.
And this time we really are all out of Joe's until a few weeks' time when the show comes back again.
So it's mainly just out of Chiefs.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Laters. That was a good one.
Well, hold up, Chief. We've finished the episode, but we didn't actually talk about how well Snake Hunt did at including every single Joe.
Oh, that was the
So-
premise. That was
Yeah.
pimped out in the letters page. Well, I certainly have not counted or done any kind of research, but I reckon if there's one man who has, it might be you. You've got numbers for us?
Well, I thought, just looking at the way that the plot progressed, that basically most of the way that they've covered having every single Joe is to bung him in a couple of buses. I thought, we're not going to even touch the sides. There's going to be loads of Joes missing here, but actually looking at the count, Larry's done pretty well, and the rest of the team as well have done pretty well, including most major Joe characters there up until particularly 1987.
Okay.
They're, in terms of the significant Joes and characters, there are very, very few that are missing. I think one of the earliest Joes that was a figure and has been in the comic before that we didn't see, for example, was Deep Six.
Right.
I don't think he appeared, but aside from that, most of those early Joes look to have been included.
Very good.
So
Well done,
I
team.
definitely doff my cap to Larry and the team for covering them off. It's after 87 and particularly post 1990. Some of those lesser known Joes don't really get seen. But
Right.
to be fair, I think they've not probably had much airtime in the comic books
Okay.
at all. So it's not like Larry's excluding characters that have had significant page time already. So you could argue that perhaps because they've not been in the comic before, they don't exist in his universe at the moment. But
Well,
a couple of the omissions, the missions within that bracket would be Dodger from Battle Force 2000, doesn't look to have appeared, the sole survivor of Battle Force 2000. I don't remember seeing Outback anywhere, but I could have forgotten that. There's probably a couple of guys like Downtown who've had a tiny bit of page time that weren't there. There was a page where Psych Out was coloured to look like Downtown, so
Right, okay.
in part covered by that. But I'll give a little name check of some of the Joes who potentially could have been included, but weren't. Claymore, Farstraw, Mercer, Red Dog, Taurus, Starduster, Steamroller, Skidmark, Super Trooper, Downtown, Hot Seat, Windchill, Airwave, Altitude, Ambush, Captain Gridiron, Coldfront, Drop Zone, Major Storm, Pathfinder, Rampart, Rapids Fire, Salvo, Skydive, Static Lights, Sub-Zero, Topside, Updraft, Big Ben, Clean Sweep, Cloudburst, Heavy Duty, Major Altitude, Ozone, Skymate, Trekker, Bulletproof, Dojo, General Flag Jr., Nunchuck, Chabang, Banzai, Blaster, Bushido, Colonel Courage, Longrun, Mace, Mirage, Robojo, Snowstorm, Chinzu, Effect, Skiers, Ice Cream Soldier, Space Shot, Chameleon, Sidetrack, Whiteout, Big Brawler, Crossfire, Double Blast, Surefire, Wet Down, Dart, Swipe, Sidetrack, to name a few.
missed out loads.
Without even getting into more of the Venom versus Valor and
Okay.
G.I. Joe versus Cobra
Yes.
eras. But, I think all of those are pretty much post issue 155 introductions.
Okay.
And, with the exception of a couple of those, like Farstraw, Outback, Deep Six, Dodger,
Yep.
really none of those have had any significant time.
Yeah.
And if Larry wants to ignore the Ninja Force entirely, I'm completely on board with that. Let's pretend they never happened. Why not?
Okay, well, that is, not bad considering it was a big claim in the first place, and to cram them all in, I think that might have hampered the story a little bit by trying to include so many of them, but a lot of them were just, like you said, just pictures in buses or whatever, so there you go. But good research, as always, Funky Bunch. The man will never give up on the research.